It was still dark outside when I heard the pounding on my front door. I looked at the clock. 5:02 a.m. No one knocks at that hour unless something is wrong. Imagine waking up to a frantic neighbor begging you to stay home or die. Keep listening. I pulled on my sweatshirt and went to the door, heart pounding. When I opened it, my next-door neighbor, Gabriel Stone, stood there. His face was pale, his breathing uneven, as if he had run all the way over. "Don't go to work today," he said, his voice low and urgent. "Stay home. Just trust me." I stared at him in confusion. Gabriel was quiet, polite, and rarely spoke more than a few words in passing. I barely knew anything about him other than he kept to himself and had moved into the neighborhood a year ago. Seeing him like this, terrified, felt wrong. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "Did something happen?" He shook his head slowly, but his eyes were sharp with warning. "I can't explain right now. Just promise me you won't leave the house today. Not for any reason." Everything seemed unreal in that moment. The cold morning air, the pink streak of sunrise just beginning on the horizon, and my neighbor, usually emotionless, now looking like a man about to fall apart. I took a slow breath. "Gabriel, you're scaring me," I said. "Why shouldn't I go?" He hesitated. Then his voice dropped into a whisper. "You'll understand by noon." Before I could ask anything else, he stepped back, glanced around the neighborhood as if someone might be watching us, and walked quickly back to his house. He didn't look back. I stood there in silence, my hand still on the doorknob, my mind racing. A rational part of me wanted to dismiss it as paranoia. Maybe he was confused. Maybe he was having some kind of breakdown. But another part of me, the part that had always trusted my instincts, told me not to ignore this. What if your dad died hiding a secret that now wants you dead? The clues were there all along, and there was one more reason I couldn't just shrug it off. Months ago, I lost my father. His death was sudden. Officially, it was listed as a stroke, but in the days before it happened, he kept trying to talk to me about something important he needed to show me. When I pressed him, he would only say, "It's about our family. It's time you knew then." Before we ever had that conversation, he was gone. Since then, strange things had been happening around me. A car parked near my driveway for hours with tinted windows. My phone ringing from blocked numbers with no one speaking on the other end. My younger sister, Sophie, who works overseas, calling to ask if I had noticed anyone new in the area. No one had said anything directly, but I had felt it. Something was moving in my life quietly, on purpose, and whatever it wasn't random. My name is Alyssa Rowan. I'm 33 years old, a financial analyst at Henning & Cole Investments, and someone who has never missed a day of work unless I was sick. I live alone in the house I inherited from my grandmother. It's a quiet life, structured, predictable. Until today. I made a choice in that moment, not out of fear, but out of logic. If Gabriel was wrong, I would simply take a personal day. If he was right, I might be saving my life. Without even knowing it, I texted my manager, telling her I was unable to come in due to a personal emergency. Then, I waited. The hours crawled by. Every noise in my house seemed louder than usual. The ticking, clock in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator. Even the wind against the window sounded like someone trying to speak through the walls. By 11:30 a.m., I started to feel foolish. Nothing had happened. Gabriel hadn't returned. Maybe I was overreacting. Then my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered, expecting maybe my manager or a spam call. Instead, I heard a calm, authoritative voice say, "Ma'am, this is Officer Taylor with the County Police Department. Are you aware of a critical incident that occurred at your workplace this morning?" My breath caught. "What incident?" The officer exhaled, his tone shifting. "There was a violent attack at your building. Several employees were injured. We have reason to believe you were present." My entire body went cold. "That's impossible. I wasn't there." Silence. Then the officer replied, "We have footage of your car arriving at 8:02 a.m. Your work ID was used to enter the building, and security reports say you were last seen on the 3rd floor before the attack." My knees weakened. I gripped the edge of the table to stay upright. Someone had used my identity. Someone wanted me to be there, and someone wanted the world to believe I was. If you want to know what the police told me next and the truth my neighbor had been trying to protect me from, subscribe now and comment where you're watching from. Because what happened at noon didn't just change my life. It revealed why I was never supposed to survive this day. The officer's voice stayed calm, but there was something beneath it. Urgency mixed with caution that told me this wasn't a courtesy call. This was a call that would change everything. Ms. Rowan, the officer continued, your co-workers reported seeing you enter the building this morning. Security logs show your keycard was used at 8:02 a.m. We have time-stamped footage of your vehicle pulling into the parking garage. I pressed the phone closer to my ear, my voice unsteady. That's not possible. I've been home all morning. I didn't go to work today. There was a pause. Then he asked a question that sent a chill through my body. Can anyone verify that? I looked around my empty living room. The silence felt heavy, accusatory. No, I whispered. I live alone. The officer's tone changed, becoming more formal. Ms. Rowan. At approximately 11:47 a.m., an emergency alert was triggered on the third floor of your building. A coordinated attack took place. You were reported missing from the scene. We are required to locate you for your safety and for questioning. My grip tightened on the phone. Questioning? Why would I be questioned? There was a longer pause this time, as if he was choosing his words carefully. Evidence was found in the building. Items belonging to you were recovered near the scene of the incident. My mind went blank. Items belonging to me. That's when I remembered Gabriel. His pale face. His shaking hands. Don't go to work today. Someone had been planning this, and I had been part of that plan, either as a victim or as the person to blame. I'm telling you, I wasn't there, I said, trying to remain calm. Someone must have cloned my keycard, or then a sudden thought hit me so hard I could barely speak. My car. Did you see who got out of the car in that footage? The officer responded quietly. The footage is corrupted. We don't see the face. Only the vehicle entering with your plates clearly visible. My pulse quickened. Whoever did this had access to my car or an identical vehicle. My identity hadn't just been stolen. It had been replaced. I glanced out the window, my heart racing. Was I being watched? Was someone waiting for me to panic and make the wrong move? Before I could ask more questions, the officer said, Units will be arriving at your address shortly. Please do not leave the premises. My instincts went into overdrive. If Gabriel told me not to go to work and someone impersonated me, then police showing up might not be coming for my safety. They might be coming to take me. As soon as the call ended, I closed all the blinds and locked every door. My breathing was shallow. My mind raced back to every strange moment over the past few weeks. A man in a suit watching me from his car down the street. Emails from unknown senders asking if I would be in office Tuesday. The sense that someone had gone through my belongings when I wasn't home. It wasn't paranoia. It had been preparation. Suddenly, there was a knock at my door. Sharp, controlled, not hesitant like a concerned neighbor and not frantic like someone in danger. It was deliberate. I held my breath and stayed silent. Another knock, then a voice. Alyssa, it's Gabriel. Open the door. We need to talk. My chest tightened. I moved slowly toward the door but didn't open it. How did you know the police would call me? I asked through the wood. His voice came back low and steady. Because they're not coming to help you. They're coming to place you under federal custody. You were never meant to wake up in your own bed this morning. My head spun. What are you talking about? They staged the incident to eliminate everyone in that building, he said. And you were supposed to be there, not as a victim, but as the one they would blame. He paused. And now they need you alive long enough to confess to something you didn't do. A cold realization washed over me. Whoever did this didn't just want me gone. They wanted me erased and rewritten as the villain. And whatever was going to happen at noon was never about the building. It was about me. I opened the door slowly, not because I trusted Gabriel completely, but because I trusted fear even less. His eyes were locked onto mine the moment the door cracked open, sharp, watchful, as if he was scanning for any signs we were not alone. Without asking permission, he stepped inside and closed the door behind him. He didn't waste time. They're already on their way, he said. You have minutes, maybe less, before they arrive and declare this house a crime scene. I crossed my arms, trying to steady my breathing. Why? Why me? What's going on?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he went to the kitchen window and scanned the street. Then he lowered his voice. "Alyssa, I didn't move here by accident. I moved here to watch over you. Your father asked me to." The words hit me like a physical blow. I took a step back. My father? No. My father was an accountant, a normal man. He never. Gabriel turned to face me. "Your father never worked in finance, that was his cover. He was involved in a secret federal investigation for nearly 2 decades, and you were part of the reason." My mouth went dry. "What does that mean?" Gabriel reached inside his jacket and pulled out a small black envelope. "Your father knew something like this would happen one day. He left this for you." I hesitated before taking it. My fingers shook as I unfolded the paper inside. There was a handwritten note. "Alyssa, if you are reading this, then what I feared has come to pass. You are not in danger because of anything you did. You are in danger because of who you are. There is more to your identity than you know. Gabriel will tell you the rest. Trust him as you once trusted me. Do not surrender yourself. If they take you in, you will disappear. Dad." My knees weakened. My father had known. He had been trying to prepare me. All those times he said, "There are things you're better off not knowing yet." I thought he was being dramatic. Now those words came back to me like warnings from a ghost. Gabriel met my eyes. "They're not just framing you, they're reclaiming you." "Reclaiming," I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. "You were never just a civilian," Gabriel said. "Your birth was not a coincidence. Your identity was constructed. Your father uncovered a secret biogenetic program, one tied to powerful families, important bloodlines. When he refused to cooperate, he became a problem. His death was not natural. You were meant to be eliminated next. But they found a better use for you." My heart thundered. "To use me as what?" He took a step closer. "As a scapegoat. They needed a story that would justify the next phase of their plan, a fake tragedy with you as the face of it. Of them all, realization burned through me. Every strange moment, every shadow I had ignored had been leading to this point. So all of this was staged to destroy my life, I asked. Gabriel's gaze was firm. Not just your life, your legitimacy. Once they declare you a national threat, they can seize every file connected to your father's investigation. They can erase the truth he died trying to protect." He reached into his coat again and this time pulled out a metal key card with a red emblem. "This is access to a secure storage vault your father used. It contains encrypted files that name the people behind this operation. If you don't reach that vault before they reach you, everything your father died for will be buried forever." I stared at the key card in his hand, then back at the note from my father. My entire life I had believed I was ordinary, replaceable, invisible. Now I understood the truth. I was never invisible. I was never replaceable. I was watched because I was the last piece of a puzzle someone powerful didn't want solved. Suddenly, the distant wail of sirens began to echo across the neighborhood. Gabriel looked toward the front window. "They're here," he said. But he wasn't afraid. And for the first time since this morning, neither was I. Because fear had something I no longer carried. Doubt. I folded my father's letter and placed the keycard in my pocket. Then I looked at Gabriel and said, "Show me where we need to go." He nodded once. And in that moment, I crossed the line between the life I had always known and the truth I was born to face. We barely made it to Gabriel's SUV before the first unmarked black vehicles turned the corner and began closing in on my street. The sirens had stopped. They didn't need them anymore. They weren't coming as law enforcement. They were coming as recovery. "Get in," Gabriel ordered, starting the engine as soon as my door clicked shut. We shot forward, tires screeching. Through the rear window I saw 2 men step out of a black sedan scanning the area. One of them lifted a radio to his mouth. His expression cold and certain, like a man retrieving property. Not a person. Property. As we sped down the highway, a strange calmness came over me. Fear had left my body. What remained was clarity. Something inside me had turned. like a key finally matching the right lock. After 20 minutes of silence, Gabriel spoke. "There's something you need to see before we reach the vault. Once you see it, you'll understand why they've been watching you your whole life." He reached into his jacket and handed me a tablet. A file was open on the screen labeled Rowan Alyssa, Subject 7B. Designation Genomic Asset, High Priority, Project Origin Initiative. I scrolled down, my pulse quickening as I read. Gene expression chart. Blood markers not found in ordinary humans. A note. Subject exhibits complete immunity to multiple viral strains. Potential regenerative blood properties. Subject approved for Phase 2 integration. Phase 2. I swallowed hard. What does this mean? Regenerative. Immune to what? Gabriel kept his eyes on the road. 20 years ago, your father uncovered a government-backed biogenetics program. They weren't trying to cure diseases. They were trying to create a new class of human beings, people with specific immune advantages who could survive outbreaks, chemical exposure, warfare. I stared at the screen, light flickering across my face as the truth began to settle like ash. My father was involved in this, I asked. He was never meant to be, Gabriel said. He stumbled across it when he discovered medical inconsistencies in your early childhood records. He found samples of your blood in places he didn't authorize. He realized you were being studied without his knowledge. He tried to pull you from the program, but that wasn't an option. The highway lights flashed past us like white comets. I could barely process the words. Me, a subject, a project, a target. Gabriel continued, his tone firm but controlled. Your father leaked the existence of the program to a federal oversight board. The board ordered the project shut down, but instead of ending it, the people at the top erased the investigation and everyone who knew. Everyone, including my father, I whispered. Gabriel nodded. They made it look like a stroke, but he was poisoned with a neurotoxin developed by the same program. His death was a message. I closed my eyes. For the first time, I didn't see my father as a quiet man with secrets. I saw him as someone who sacrificed everything to protect his child from the world she never knew she was born into. They planned to retrieve you on your 33rd birthday, Gabriel said. But something changed. Your profile was accelerated. Your blood test last month triggered a system alert. That's why they staged the attack at your workplace today. If you had gone, you would either be dead or disappeared. Dead or erased. And now, I asked. They will frame you publicly, Gabriel said. Declare you a domestic threat. Asset recovery protocol. I gripped the tablet tightly. But why frame me? Why not just take me quietly? Because they don't just want your body, Gabriel answered. They want control over the story. If the world believes you are dangerous, no one will question what they do with you. We turned off the main road and onto a forest path leading toward a remote facility. The trees grew dense, the air colder. My heartbeat steadied. I was no longer in the life I knew. I was in the one I was born for. As we approached what looked like an abandoned bunker hidden beneath an overgrown hill, Gabriel parked the SUV and turned to me. You have one last decision, Alyssa, he said, his voice quiet. Once you walk inside, there is no going back. You will know everything. Your father died to protect the truth about what you are. And once you know it, they will never stop hunting you. I met his eyes. I've been hunted my whole life without knowing why, I said. It's time I found out what's inside me that they're so desperate to control. Gabriel nodded. I stepped out of the vehicle. The door of the bunker groaned open as if waking from decades of silence. And in that moment I knew this wasn't the end of my life. It was the beginning of the real one. The bunker door sealed shut behind us with a deep metallic thud that echoed through the chamber like the heartbeat of something ancient. The air was cold, untouched, as though this place had been waiting, not just for anyone, but specifically for me. Gabriel moved with certainty, entering a long corridor lined with steel safety doors. I followed him in silence, each step heavier than the last. The deeper we went, the more a strange sensation started building in my chest. Not fear, not anxiety, but recognition. My body knew this place, even if my mind did not. We stopped before a vault door with a circular emblem engraved into the steel, the Rowan family crest. My father had once shown me a drawing of it, telling me it belonged to distant ancestors. Now I knew the truth. It wasn't heritage, it was designation. Gabriel motioned to a small panel on the wall. "Your DNA will open this vault," he said. I hesitated. "How do you know?" "Because your father told me," he replied. "He said the vault will only recognize his bloodline, and you are the last." The last. It struck me that I wasn't just unlocking a door. I was unlocking the final secret of my family's existence. I pressed my palm to the scanner. A pulse of light ran along my skin. The vault emitted a soft chime, then slowly rotated open. Cold air spilled out, and with it came a scent that made my chest tighten. Old paper, memory, and something else. Home. The room inside was circular and lined with shelves of black boxes, each labeled with coded numbers. At the center was a glass pedestal, and on that pedestal, sealed inside protective casing, was a single leather-bound journal. My father's journal. Hands trembling, I lifted the casing and opened to a bookmarked page. There was a letter addressed to me in his handwriting. "My daughter, if you are reading this, then the lies surrounding your life have finally been stripped away. But what I need you to know above all else is this. You were never an accident. You were never property. You were the first successful proof that human immunity can evolve naturally. They did not create you. You were born with what they have spent decades trying to manufacture. It is not what was done to you that makes you powerful. It's what you already are. You are the future they fear." I closed my eyes as tears blurred the ink. My father didn't just die to protect me. He died to protect what I represented. Not a weapon. A hope. On the next page was a final instruction. "There is a decision only you can make. At the far end of this vault lies the master control terminal. One command will give them what they've always wanted, your compliance. The other will release every classified document tied to the Rowan Initiative to the public. Once you choose, the world will be changed forever." I looked at Gabriel. He didn't try to influence me. He simply said, "Your father trusted you to decide not as a subject but as a human being." My legs felt heavy as I approached the control terminal. 2 buttons glowed softly under glass. Acquisition protocol, signaling surrender. Revelation protocol, triggering public exposure. If I chose the first, I might survive, but at the cost of my freedom and the truth. If I chose the second, I would make myself the enemy of powerful people who had already killed to hide this secret. I pressed the second button. A low hum filled the chamber. A countdown appeared on the screen. Data began flooding onto secure channels preset by my father. Evidence, names, financial trails, all streaming to global media outlets, encrypted but traceable. There was no turning back. Gabriel exhaled. "It's done. You just changed the world." Suddenly, alarms blared. They had found us. Our time was up, but I was no longer afraid. For the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding behind what I thought was safety. I was standing in the light of truth. "We have to leave now," Gabriel said urgently. As we rushed toward the exit tunnel, my father's last words echoed in my mind. "You were not born to be controlled. You were born to reveal what control really is." We emerged into the cold night. Helicopters thundered above. Searchlights cut through the trees. But I no longer saw them as hunters. I saw them as the first wave of a dying lie, and I was no longer running from them. I was leading the fight against them, because I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was becoming what my father had always believed I could be. Not a subject, not a victim, but the beginning of something entirely new. If you believe the truth should never be hidden, no matter how powerful the people trying to bury it are, make sure you subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from. Because this story is not the end.